Good afternoon, everyone. I'm Caroline, and I am the fundraiser at Ronald McDonald House in Oxford. Can I have a quick show of hands before today or before this event who had actually heard of Ronald McDonald House in Oxford? That's a few. That's more than I normally get. So a bit about the charity across the UK. Ronald McDonald House Charities has been in the UK since 1989. So we provide home away from home accommodation for families that have a child in hospital. So you'll typically find us as a big standalone house next to a children's hospital. There's currently 14 houses in the UK. There's 3 more now in development. Oxford itself is quite unique as far as Ronald McDonald houses go. So as some of you will know, if you're residents of Oxford and have been here for a while, we actually opened when the Children's Hospital opened in 2007. So we're coming up to our 10th anniversary at the beginning of next year. We're quite unique, like I said, because we're actually within the Children's Hospital. We are right there, right on the top floor of the Children's Hospital. We're not a standalone house. And what we hear from parents is that makes it so much nicer for them to be able to dash downstairs in their pyjamas if the little one needs some help. So the actual house was built when the hospital was built, not by the charity. So because of that, the size of it's quite small. I basically describe it as being a bit like a Travelodge corridor. So a lot of people just won't even know that we're there. Even doctors within the hospital don't know that we're there. And they don't know that we're an independent charity and we need to fundraise for our running costs. But what we do provide is an essential service for anyone who is at the hospital with their child. So within the house, we have bedrooms. The families that stay with us are welcome to stay for as long as they need to, and that's obviously subject to demand. So because we're so small, every single day we have a waiting list of 10 families, 11 families, 12 families that need somewhere to stay. So if we have a rush in intensive care, then it may be that when a family has a child on the ward, there might be a pull-out bed that one parent can stay in. In that kind of circumstance, we might ask them to vacate their room so that someone who needs it more might be able to come in and use that. Within the house as well, we also have lounge and kitchen facilities. So this is just crucial for families, especially if they are staying in the hospital long term. Our longest stay has been 15 months. If that becomes your daily life, basically living in the hospital, you need those kind of facilities so you don't have to keep buying food every day from the hospital canteens. So we have over 600 families every year. We actually had 650 last year. Those families come from across Oxfordshire, but they also come from the surrounding towns, the surrounding counties of Oxfordshire. We get a lot of families coming in now because the JR is such a specialist hospital. It's so well known that the moment anything gets tricky in one of their local hospitals, for example in Milton Keynes, in Reading, in Swindon, in High Wycombe, they get sent to the JR. And obviously with those parents being at least an hour's drive away, and we know even within Oxford, it can take a while to get into Oxford. If your child's in intensive care, you don't want to be driving backwards and forwards all the time. Because of the other specialist services, such as the craniofacial service, we are one of the 4 centres in the UK offering craniofacial services. So we quite often get families coming over from Belfast, sometimes Malta, Devon, Sheffield. They come from all over. So that's us now. Because, as I said, we are far too small, and it's been obvious for the past 10 years that we're not providing the service that we need to provide. This is our proposed relocation. Now, for me, after working for the charity for 3 years, this is a revelation. And this is something that I'm hoping that you, as business people, as residents of Oxfordshire, will be able to get behind. like there was with the funding for the Children's Hospital, we're going to have to raise at least £9 million to build this fantastic new house. The planning permission has just gone in, so hopefully, subject to planning permission, we will get approval for that at some point this year. And then we'll have the task of raising £9 million, which is going to be lovely. So any ideas, please throw them my way. The other thing at the moment is that we only provide accommodation for families in the Children's Hospital itself, as opposed to the newborn intensive care unit. This is absolutely heartbreaking to see that over the years, the neonatal unit has grown to about 50 cots, and every single night, that's families who have just had maybe a premature baby that needs somewhere to stay. This is maybe, you know, mums that have just had a C-section that really shouldn't be travelling backwards and forwards to wherever they live. At the moment, we can't do anything to help them, but with this new house, we would be able to house those families too. So obviously, as we were invited to be partner charity of this event, I was more than happy to come and speak and tell you about our house and about what we do and about the charity, because I would love it if you all got behind us and supported us in some way. However, I know in Oxford and Oxfordshire in general, we've got a great charity community. There's plenty of charities out there, and everyone has charities close to their heart, which is why I wanted to talk a bit more generally about how you can help, not just us as a charity, and don't worry, we're not competitive. Among the charity community, you know, I'm quite happy to share these things and hope that it will help you in your support of other charities. So the first thing I'd like to talk about is gifts in kind. A lot of companies don't realise what they could perhaps give to charities. Even, for example, I met David earlier in the lobby. It's the first time we've met, and we just happened to discuss the fact that because I provide accommodation for families, we have emergency baskets of toiletries in the rooms. And he said, well, I know a hotel that's just changing their branding, that they're getting rid of their toiletries. It's simple links like that sometimes you might not think about it, but there's probably going to be a charity that could really do with that. We also have a link to Tech Air, which makes laptop bags. I actually have a lovely one under the table. A dad who stayed in the house just works for marketing in this company. Whenever they have any kind of stock they need to get rid of, they'll just sort of send us a box full. It might be that we take them to a car boot sale and we sell them off. We might take them to a corporate that we're working with and say, would you like to buy these for your laptops for your IT company? But in the end, it turns into money for us as a charity, which is just brilliant. The next thing is event participation. Now, it can be that you're looking for some kind of reward for your staff. For example, we have an annual charity ball. So many charities do dinners, and we had a company from Banbury this year bought 3 tables at our ball just so that they could have it as an employee reward for the ones that had performed the best over the year. It was, you know, a fairly low-cost thing, but it made those employees feel quite special, that they were being invited to this black tie event and they came along and supported the charity at the same time. The next thing is avoiding sponsorship fatigue. I'm sure you've all seen so many Just Giving pages, Virgin Money giving pages. Everyone you know is doing a 5K, a 10K, a sponsored run, a sponsored walk. There are different ways around it. If you want to run a marathon, by all means, please do. You know, it's such an incredible thing to do. And actually, I'm going along on Sunday to watch some of our runners in London. We also have places for the Oxford Half Marathon. I'm never going to tell you not to do it, but all I will say is that there's a lot of different ways that you could raise the money that doesn't mean necessarily going to your friends. If you want to raise money to do something like an event like that, then how about putting on a quiz night, a race night? Give your friends a night out and they won't realise that they're actually donating to the charity. It gives them a bit more, rather than just sort of throwing some money your way. The next home. Now, as I said, we've got a real good network of charities across Oxfordshire. I meet up quite often with fundraisers from other charities. I'll have one charity saying to me, oh, people just keep giving us books. That's all they keep giving us, and we've got nothing to do with them. We can't sell them. At the same time, I've got one of my friends at British Heart Foundation going, our stores really need books at the moment. So there just seems to be a bit of a disconnect in people want to feel like they're giving things to charity and they're giving it a good home. But sometimes it's not necessarily the best place to give it. It's things like Oxfam have great clothes, fabric facilities. So if you give your clothes that maybe are in a bit of a bad state, can't be sold to a local charity, they might not be able to deal with that. They might have to pay to dispose of those fabrics. If you give them to someone like Oxfam, they can recycle them. They've got those facilities. So it's just a bit more thought of where you're actually sending things. I'm always here to, if you ever want to take my card, and I can always connect you up with other people around Oxfordshire. And the next thing is volunteering. Now, I think, there's been a lot of discussions today about how best to motivate your employees, how to, encourage their skills, how to make, this experience of working in Oxfordshire brilliant. There's so many ways that people can volunteer their skills now. It doesn't have to be volunteering in a charity shop. It can be absolutely anything. My background is volunteering at festivals. I did that because I wanted to get into festivals for free. That's where I started. But find something that you do. If you have skills in an area, volunteer those skills for a charity. There's so many charities that could really do with your help. I just wanted to end by saying that the community in Oxfordshire is great, and we also have 2 networks that I know of that are really good. Robin, if you look it up on LinkedIn, has regular networking meetings, which is 50-50 businesses and community. A great place to kind of give your skills, give your stuff to charities that need it. And then finally, the Reciprocate, which we have leaflets for here, which is being set up by the Oxfordshire Community Foundation, which is going to give businesses a better way of directing their community efforts. So hopefully that's a bit of a whistle-stop tour through the charities in Oxfordshire.